Text me if you need anything.
Okay.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. This is season 8, episode 1. Took a little break from December to right now. I usually take about a month off in between seasons, but I am super pumped. I've been talking to Marcus Rezak about doing this show for I don't know how long, man. When did we book this? Like 2 months ago?
Yeah, at least.
But we've been talking about doing this thing and hanging out and chatting nerdy guitar stuff. But dude, thank you for making some time. I know you're a very, very busy touring relentlessly guy, so I appreciate you making some time to hang.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm very happy to be here with you and making this happen because I've been looking forward to it. You're doing all this cool stuff too, so I'm psyched.
Yeah, man. I'm having fun doing it. It's been like a blessing in disguise because once COVID hit and all my gigs shut down, I was like, what the hell am I going to do with my life? And this happened. And it just kind of stuck. So, oh, nice. Got some light.
We got a light shined on us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did it.
There we go, man. So, Marcus, I asked this question of everybody. The first question on the show is, what is your earliest memory, like musical memory?
Oh, I love that question because I actually can remember it because it is my first memory in life. My great grandmother, amazing classical pianist professionally, and she sat me down at the piano at age 3, and I remember learning Peter Pumpkin Eater on the black keys of the piano, and that was really it. Like in Chicago, where I grew up, sitting there, and she just got it right in my soul. Right in the beginning. So, in that, my family, I guess a little bit, but I think that she was the one who really gave me my first musical memory for sure.
Okay. So do you have other musical people in your family, or is like your grandmom like the person who was the main influence?
She was, it runs a little bit past her even, but her generation was where it started really. And she passed it down to my grandmother. And then my grandmother passed down to my uncles and my mom, and also, a little bit on my dad's side, there was some musical influence. He played a little accordion back in the day, actually, too. But music, came from there initially, and my mom honestly really brought me up with a lot of musical upbringing. She was always playing music for me as a kid, and my dad too. And so there was always a very musical, kind of spiritual kind of a vibe going on, from as early as I can remember. So,
okay.
But definitely, I think me taking it to, past a certain point is, just my extension of what they've instilled in me, and the roots and stuff. And, it's a lot of things with the family roots that tie in. My great grandfather, who my great grandma was married to, was a lumber guy, and guitars and wood go together really well, and things just lead. It comes full circle after a while.
Yeah, man. Do you have siblings who play too, or anything, or cousins, or?
Yeah, my sister is. She's a music lover. She's also a DJ too. She actually does do DJing. So.
Oh, cool.
But she's very much, efficient in music knowledge, and has been to a lot of shows with me. And she's very in tune with, a lot of stuff going on. She's amazing. I love her very much. And she's very supportive and doing a lot of cool stuff of her own merchandise for other bands in the scene. And she has a page called Rad and Refined. That's really incredible, that everyone should check out. And she supplies merchandise to some pretty big people. Taylor Swift is one of them.
Okay.
She's done stuff for Miley Cyrus. She has a lot of cool stuff, and
dang,
really check it out. Yeah,
that's rad, dude. So let me just ask you, because we're talking about the scene. Because I grew up in this scene too, and I mean I'm 44. I don't know how old you are, but I've been around since early Fish too, and I grew up on that stuff because my older brother, and I was a huge Mo head for a long time because I love Chuck Garvey. But how did you end up in that scene? What was the catalyst to kind of getting into improvisational music? I'm very curious about that.
I love that. That's a great one. I guess, I went through a lot of like, the classic rock early phase of music, loving it on guitar, and then went into a lot of heavy metal and rock
Mhm.
stuff, and then got into the jam improv, music, which is a middle ground of like, jazz and rock and roll for me. And so I guess I found the Grateful Dead kind of first around age of like 12. Somebody I met showed me a tape, and I thought it sounded really different, cool, and then I met somebody with a guitar, and it was kind of like one thing after another, got me into that kind of music. But I just love the freedom of it, exploring it, and being able to feel like endless, infinite possibilities of exploration, and something I found fascinating, early on, especially, and still forever. But I just improvisational music. Then I started playing it, and then realizing those possibilities beyond just listening to it. So connecting with other people, and speaking the language and reaching those deep places of improv is what I love so much about music in general now.
Mhm.
But it kind of hit me right around that age of 12, 13, and realizing the possibilities of that music. And then a friend, very close friend of mine, um, his sister, older sister, showed us a fish tape, and for some reason that really got me going. I heard junta for the first time, fee, of course,
Mhm.
and it was like just game changing. Just it hit me,
Yeah,
It,
man.
so that was it. Like, and then I saw Fish when I was 15, 10,399 Allstate or Rosemont Horizon. It was, and then it was off to the races as far as improv rock goes, and then
Nice.
and jazz. Jazz was where I went after that moment because I wanted to learn everything about improvisation. So I credit jazz as the teacher, but improvisational rock is like where I like to live. Fusion jazz,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it. It's just blending the two forms of music that I love so much, especially. But I like all kinds of music, so it's hard to even say. But yeah, improvising in general as an art form is something I'm very passionate about.
Yeah. Do you remember the first, like, extended, like, Grateful Dead jam that you heard that made you be like, "What are they doing? And why do I love it so much?" Like, do you remember what song?
I just still go back to you know the Barton Hall, Scarlet Fire. And
Mhm.
that one is just always still the one that, like, at that time when I was first discovering all the shows, it was like, wow, the audio quality is kind of interesting on this, and they're playing long jams, and it's cool solos are happening, and so that one's still, probably high on the list. It's a very popular show, but at that early age, I was that was the first thing I really heard that was big as far as a live show goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like, and this was my path to it, so that this may be similar for you, but my older brother was a big Deadhead, and then when Fish kinda came in the house and I heard them and I heard, like, chalk dust coming from his room when he was playing, like, FIFA or something, I was like, "Now that I can identify with more," because it had, like, a harder edge to it, more
Mhm.
of, like, that rock and roll vibe like that we're talking about. Was that your same experience when you first heard that band too?
Yeah, I thought there was a little more, definitely more edge, and also more quirkiness. A little more um, some sort of com- compositional aspects of things that I found really interesting too. And yeah, I think that just the shredding guitar solo thing, that was just kind of more high octane at that time. Identified a little bit more, but I grew to learn the spiritualism and the church likeness of Jerry's playing too, and so they overlap a lot for me, in my style of playing, even when it comes down to it. But yeah, I think that Fish, it just the fact they're also still playing at that time, and I was still going to see Further and all the post Grateful Dead conglomerates, but being able to see Fish at the time it helped to see it and be there, and also just hear a little more of that push forward, which I grew to understand that was a lot of a Frank Zappa kind of influence as well,
Hmm.
along with the Grateful Dead influence that they have, and others. But I think that all comes full circle for me now to understand and blend together into one, as far as I'm concerned, and push it forward. That's the whole idea for me.
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
hear it in your music that you pull from everything, but you have your own fingerprint. That's what I like about your playing too, is like, even though you can give nods to things, it's like, you can take the liberty to be yourself in the moment, while you're doing something that may be familiar to some people, but like, it's a little bit left because it's you. And
Mhm.
that's what I think is cool about there's some players, and I think in the scene that, like you're one of them, but like that I admire because of that. Like Jake from Eggy. Like I think he's got a cool thing going on too. But like I like your approach that, even though you have a languedoc in your hand, it sounds like you know what I mean? It's like, you're using the tools because you like them, but you're making it your own thing. And I think that's rad, dude. Um, well, what led you to Boston then? So I was there from 2008 to 2010. When were you there?
I was there 2002 to 2006.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, we missed each other. Not too far off, but okay, so then while you were there, because I know it very well, and I know the jazzer thing that we all go through when we're there. Because I love Wayne Krantz. I'm a huge Wayne Krantz head. Um,
Me
but
too.
a lot of those cats at school like just won't even approach that because it's not straight bebop. What was your experience with like getting into the jazz world while you were there?
Well, I came into it with John Schofield as my hero, already studying his stuff before it in high school and going into it with that, crossover approach where I was still getting comfortable with straight ahead bebop playing, studying that, but into Schofield's playing because he was doing bends and being more like rock about things, and still being jazzy and hip. So I came into it kind of with that as my motivational person. And so, yeah, I got there and started hitting the ground really hard. I just started shedding constantly and playing with other people, studying bebop for sure. Like I enjoyed the challenge and I enjoyed, getting that vocabulary down for sure. But still, I listened to it a ton, but I still really liked what was modern, also modern jazz. So discovered that Wayne was a teacher there, and a friend of mine at school showed me "Along to Be Loose" and that album, and I was just hooked immediately. That became my next favorite guy that I was really inspired by, wanting to learn all that harmony and fragmented chord shape stuff, and the rhythmic. I mean, his rhythmic stuff is just the craziest, best. Him, Keith Carlock, Wayne, and Tim LaFave. Those three guys did some of the most alien shit ever.
Yeah, dude.
And
Yeah,
they're still doing it too.
I know.
But I love it, and I was very inspired. I walk up and down the streets of Boston listening to that record and others of like Schofield's and all the jazz greats, Martino, Matheny, Mike Stern, all the guys doing the thing, and I was just constantly listening and emulating and absorbing that vocabulary into my playing and trying to implement it daily with other players and that sort of thing, which was just a magical sort of environment to be in at the time, which was it was really more of like a real life environment that they trained you for, I would say, right? Like
Hmm.
we were all we were already gigging when we were 18, 17. Like we were ready to be professionals, I feel like. So just putting the time in, and I used to have my desk on my every class just in a semicircle around me, you know, harmony theory, harmony, like ear training, arranging, you know, music lab, whatever, like all the things. And I just bounce around all day and just be like, let's go into this, let's go into that. Let's, just immersed myself pretty much, and just tried to, be around the great players who were like serious like I was about it. And summers I was playing gigs and coming back. So I had really enjoyed it, and the teachers I had were really great. I got to give a shout out to the late great John D. Thomas, who is one of my favorite teachers. Kept it really real. As far as bebop, I was translated all the Coltrane and McCoy Tyner stuff onto guitar, and
Man,
he was amazing.
that's a lift.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I still got all the cassette tapes. I would just have recording for all the labs and classes and stuff, and everything I did at Berkeley, I still have in like a bin. Every class, every piece of paper, every assignment. Still have all of it because I really it was a special experience. So, and it's good to teach too. If I ever do that more again,
Yeah.
So I do some of it, but not much these days.
What are you doing right now that you're working on? Is there anything like that you're like trying to tackle right now on the instrument?
Oh, well, like as far as technical facility, not really. I'm actually mostly just playing a lot and trying to consistently speak what I'm hearing and feeling out of the guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and just doing that on a consistent basis is where is my practice more now, and reaching those improv places with other musicians that are like doing that too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really not trying to be more chopsy. I'm not trying to work on more new techniques as much. I feel like I did that for most of my life, and like I'm finally feeling at a point where I like to play tunes. I like to improvise over songs and learn and like still explore that way. But I'm trying to maybe not quite play as fast all the time. Maybe I don't want to hear that, but still gonna do it. But like honestly, the sound of switching to the Languedoc has changed my style a little bit. In that every note sounds a little sweeter to me. Everything sounds a little more savory, and I like exploring the harmonic range of the guitar. And now that I've done the whole swapping of the pickups and the wiring and doing that whole thing with it, it's been really cool to find different aspects of playing that I wouldn't normally have had before.
Yeah. It's funny too, isn't it, man? Like it feels like there's certain guitars that just bring out the best in you as well, you know?
Totally.
Whether
Yeah,
that whether that means it slows you down because you need to be slowed down, or if it's buttery and makes you play smoother and more cohesive, like it's like it feels like there's always an instrument that like, have we met that one yet? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. This thing is always been in my ear and my sight, and unattainable for a long time. So like I was playing hollow bodies early on, because that was the sound, and I really always have been comfortable with them. But whatever the guitar does is it's gonna do, and your style evolves, and I'm happy with the way that my phrasing is kind of changed a little bit, and just it's not a low action shredding blisteringly fast wanting to play type of guitar. It's more like every note has its own bloom and blossom to it, and you want to have a little higher action, a little more like kind of you know phraseability, I guess you could say. Sounds
Yeah.
better in my opinion. Higher action, but
Well, let's check it out because you have it there. Because I wanna talk to you about it because 'cause I've never played one. So
yeah.
I have a 335 from do you know about Josh Williams guitars? And
Josh Williams, it sounds very familiar. I feel like I have.
so he builds like 335s, like kind of thing, and that's my first hollow body instrument and Gibson scale length and all that jazz, which is different because I was a Strat guy my whole life. But I've
Oh,
never played that. So where does that live scale length wise for you?
it's Fender scale length, so 25 and a half, I believe, right? And it's interesting because it is like kind of the combo of the Fender scale length and the Les Paul configuration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's some magic in that, I think. and yeah, it plays really smooth, and it's not super tight, and it's not super loose. For some reason, it's very well balanced.
It's a cannon too, man.
It's so loud. It's unbelievably resonant.
That is nuts, dude.
Every note rings so nicely. That's what's so fun about it. It's very even, and yeah, it's nice. It's a smooth ride for sure.
Now you said you changed some stuff. Did you what did you do like 50s wiring, and what pickups did you put in there and everything?
Yeah, so I'm friends with our buddy Justin Stabler, who I know you've had on your show,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk a lot, and we're good buddies and stuff, and told me that this would be a interesting, wise move to try, and so I've been doing this for a while with this setup now, and I've gone through two different types of pickups in it already, also. So it's really fun to experiment with the different pickup nuances, with this guitar because it always had the Seymour Duncans in it,
Right.
which I think the guitar was. There might be a story that the guitar was built around the pickups, but now I think there's some reverse engineering going on. So
Right.
I'm loving the way that the 50s wiring works with the tone and the volume reacting in its unique way compared to the modern wiring
Mm-hmm.
it had. And, I'm sure most people know what that means, but it's just giving me a lot more frequency exploration and range. Every little twist of the knob with the other twist of the knob creates this other space and scoop. So I'm finding that's really cool, and we've actually disconnected these two switches, so they are actually non-functional.
Oh, okay.
They used to be split coil and coil tap,
Okay.
series parallel and coil tap, I believe. Um, so now you don't need that because you can get that kind of sound with this sort of wiring.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and then the pickups, of course. We also changed the caps and the pots inside and stuff too. So that happened. But the pickups I first was using were the James Finnerty rewinds, and I know you've had James on your show too,
Mm-hmm.
and they're awesome pickups, incredibly clear. The high end is magical. They're low wind style sound, and I love them. I do. But you know what happens when you start getting into wanting to try stuff? You
Yeah.
gotta try more stuff.
Yeah.
No.
I know. I know.
So I still got them. And and then I moved on to these that are in here now, which are Pete Flynn pickups.
I was gonna ask you that. I
Yeah,
just did a demo of his pickups in my buddies. We put some in his Ibanez, and
nice.
they sound great, dude. They're very, very similar to like that, that like PAF warmth, like that blanket tone. That kind of
Yes,
thing. I'm sure those sound great in that.
they do. They really do. The low end is very tight, and it's like really sweet sounding. It's like really nice. Every note sounds really just it's like buttery, very buttery sounding.
Yeah.
And Pete makes great stuff, and he's super nice, and so is James.
Yeah. James, I've got James. This is the Mockingbird. This is the Josh Williams. And I got those TAFs for
Yeah,
this
yeah,
to try them. And I
yeah.
had Bloombuckers from Tone Specific in there, and they
Hmm.
were great. They were awesome. I really, really liked them.
Mm.
But James is like, I think we can improve it. I think I can help you and get it a little bit better. And when I got them and I put them in, I immediately sold those other pickups because I was like, I don't need those. These sound great.
Hmm.
But yeah, both of those guys, Pete and James, really have that shit dialed in. Their ears are so good.
So good, so good. Very wise, very experienced guys. I'm actually talking to James again now about doing some sort of blend of, the two worlds, and I'm probably gonna go back to Pete after that and be like, "Can you do this?" They're gonna be sick of me by the end of this, but you know what?
Right?
That's what happens when you're nitpicky, and stuff, as you know.
Yeah, dude. Marcus, so what are you usually touring and playing through, like, amp-wise? I know sometimes you gotta show up to a backline rig,
Yeah,
but,
yeah, I
like,
do.
when you have a preference, like, when you can travel with, if you're on a bus or in a van or whatever, like, what are you playing through?
Yeah, well, I gravitate towards the um, the deluxe reverbs and the
Yeah.
Princeton reverbs. I don't like the twin reverbs as much these days, unless it's really big outdoor stage, and I'm running two 12s, and it's like power, so like two tubes in it, not four tubes. Like it needs to be really like that. But certain rooms, I honestly like a 112 cab is good for me now, and I was playing with the 212 verticals, and those are fun still. I do like them, but I bounce around a lot. Like I have a Bruno 412 cab that's awesome, and
Ooh, yeah,
a couple
nice.
Bruno 112 cabs coming soon. Um, so that stuff's great. But amp wise, those are like kind of the go to, and I just like that vibe. But I also play sometimes, Voxy stuff. I also play matchless stuff. I also do like I have a Tim Schroeder amplifier, which is really amazing. Um, I got a Two Rock Emerald 50, which is really amazing to do some of that Dumbly kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
So there's some gear I use for studio work and different sessions and live shows, but I'm getting down to the wire now with my touring rig, and I've been experimenting with the Trainwreck JMDs that they're making, that John Mark's making, close replicas, if not exact, as he says they are,
Mhm.
to some of the old train wrecks, and then his new version, the JMD, which is his modern, a little bit variation of the train wrecks, because he worked with Ken Fisher
Yeah.
and all that. So I play with a few of those, and I really like them. And deciding if I'm going to do the wet, dry, wet setup, or if I'm just going to go with the one amp kind of vibe and keep it simple. Like I'm trying to simplify the rig, and you know, do it do it as efficiently as possible. But I'm
Mhm.
still running a ton of pedals, and I want to have at least a stereo capability. Like the pedal board has patch bay that's going to have 112 out, you know, wet dry, wet dry, and then stereo, and then wet dry wet options, all routed. So this board I'm building is going to be pretty big, but it's going to be sweet for the touring rig. Um,
Nice.
it's going to have all the toys, like at least I think there's something like 20 pedals in there, but it's all on a loop switcher, good power. The board's going to open and close, so there's stuff inside I don't have to touch. All that fun stuff, and then loading in and out will be a piece of cake to do a million things.
Yeah, that's dope, dude. Do you feel like you have to change up your rig with each of these bands that you're working with? Like, are you gonna use something different with Shred is Dead versus Gumbo, or are you just kinda like, "I got what I like, it
Yeah,
works?"
yeah.
Okay.
I used to do that. I used to be like that. I used to have different boards for different bands, different guitars for different shows. Like I'm done with that now. I have my sound, I have my pedals, my rig. I'm really focused on that now, as opposed to having all the different options and things. Like I've gone through it, and it's endless. But I have my like 25 pedals that I am like in love with, pretty much. If I had to lose 10 of them, I could, but I like these ones, and having the tools to do live producing, on stage. That's how I feel. I've got all the things right there, all the colors to paint with. So I like that way as opposed to doing scenes or anything like that. Because
Mhm.
for this type of music, it's too rigid. But yeah, I think that it's going to be really fun once it's all ready, and it's coming. I'm working on it as I'm on the road, calling my people back home, checking in on it. checking in with Justin about it. He's a very helpful guy to talk about stuff with. So
Yeah, man.
Gene from Ultrasound has been really helpful lately. Great guys like that, very knowledgeable. So I'm just trying to get it going. And right now, I fly with 13 pedals in a suitcase in
Right.
Charlotte, and I go, just no switch or nothing. It's all just direct, straight through 13 pedals. They all juice them up pretty good. Boost, a little boosting, a little buffering in there. But yeah, I've got the board right here. I could like flash it to you if you want to see it. But
Yeah, let's talk because I'm curious about your gain stages.
yeah, so here I got a little something. Flash this. This is just like the brain of it, and then I attach a couple other pedals, like 3 or 4 pedals on the ends.
Okay.
So yeah, can you see that? Is that?
Yeah, pretty well. I see. So there's the Lex, which is amazing.
Yeah, the Lexus is fun. Keeps the quality high up.
Yeah.
But first, I'm doing, where am I here? I'm doing tuner,
Mm-hmm.
my favorite, tried and true sonic research tuner. And then I'm going into the gains. I'm going into where am I? Reverse. These two guys here are the Landgrafs. A lot of people ask me what overdrives I use, and I don't really like talking about them because you know what? Everyone's got their little secrets. But I'm letting it out right now, right here with you on the
I
show.
don't know that company. If I'm completely honest, I don't. And I know a lot of gear, but I don't know that company.
Yeah. Landgraf is a company from Florida. John Landgraf was building a lot, I believe, in the 2010s. He passed away, and his wife ended up taking over building these pedals. These are original ones that he made, and they are just like the sound of them to me is very. You can have 3 different options, but the way I run them is very Marshally.
Okay.
Very there's a compression to them, but not much. And they just are very, very good. I don't
Okay.
know how else to explain them.
So
Try.
is one like a kind of lower gain and one's a higher gain?
No, these are the exact same. They're overdrives. Both of them are overdrives, but I just use them together, and I just by sound, decided this one sounds better first than before this one.
Okay.
I do have a bunch of these. I have quite a stash because I'm very set as these are my overdrive pedals.
Man. Okay.
So they're all uniquely different just by a little bit, which is really cool. And then you use them together and it creates this thing. So I've been using these for almost 3 years now, exclusively on this board.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's commitment. And as guitar players go, we
Yeah.
don't commit that long, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm at the point now where I'm just like, I'm comfortable and I like this and it's working. It's really working. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always open to trying new stuff, and people send me stuff all the time, and I do like using it. And there's a chance that it could replace something. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is kind of what I'm working with right now. And then I've got the Univerb here.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Good Univibe pedal. I like it. It sounds very similar to the original.
Yeah.
Not the same, but very similar. And then I'm going up to the Lex here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to my favorite delay. Well, my second favorite delay pedal. This is my first.
Okay.
But this one is the Boost DLA delay with the tap tempo. And I have found it to be incredible because it has a really good buffer in it
Mm.
and boost. So I'm letting my secrets out again.
That's all right. I mean, it's you that makes it sound good.
But yeah, it's all good. This is on all the time, so this is my always on pedal.
Okay.
Slight eighth note delay kind of thing. And then we're going to the T-Rex, the old T-Rex, not the newer one. Way better. I've been using this pedal since literally like I think 2003. It's great.
Oh. Now,
Long.
do you use that for like short, like slap stuff? Like, or
That's my slightly longer, more saturated quarter note delay.
okay.
They're
All right.
both quarter note delays, actually, the way I use them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the new board that's coming has way more like different triplet and like longer stuff going on. But my two main things, I go the two, either one on always, and then the other one comes on when I do leads and stuff.
Okay. Okay. That's rad,
Yeah.
dude. And then
Yeah.
is there one more past the
Yeah,
T-Rex?
there's one more. This is the Gaiatone MD3.
Oh yeah.
Um, and that's my long delay. That's my like whole note delay, basically. And I'm sure you're wondering why the hell does this guy have
Twist
freaking
ties.
twist ties all over his board? I know that's the big question right now, and that's because I fly with this all the time. And you know what happens when you fly? It's things get thrown around and moved, and you gotta redo it and everything. And I'm rugged, so I just said hell with it. I'm gonna put twist ties down, make the back look good too.
Yeah.
All that
Man.
power in there and stuff. So
Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
man.
then there's more. There's like I do through about 6 more pedals still. So
Okay. Yeah. Dude, I trust me. I'm right there with you because like if you find something there is do you know about the company LPD?
LPD.
Yeah.
Why does that sound familiar to you?
So there is a pedal that you might actually talking about the Marshall thing. There's a pedal that you might really like. It's called the 68. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like that plexi thing,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the coolest sounding Marshall in a box. Like one side is like engages like that kind of overdrive, and then there's a boost, like a clean boost on the one side. But then
Mm-hmm.
there's also a middle toggle switch that you can engage like a higher gain circuit for the overdrive.
Oh wow.
But it's really good, man. Like when I got it, I was really listening to a lot of Mike Landau at one
Oh
point,
yeah. Oh yeah.
and I started to play something trying to be Mike Landau. And I was like, holy shit, this totally nails that vibe. Like totally nails that vibe.
Nice.
But I think it's something that you might really like. You should
Yeah,
check
I'll
it
check
out.
it out. Oh
Yeah.
totally.
I'll send
Absolutely.
you like a picture of it and stuff so you can check it out. But
Please do.
yeah. Well, we're gonna run out of time, but I wanted to ask you, so obviously I want to talk about the new record Guitar Head, which I listened to a lot this past week, which is killing, dude. I mean, and you got so many great players on that record
Thank you.
to play with you. Uh,
Thank
I am curious, like when you're touring that music, and as much as you do fly dates and you go all over the place, like, are you working with the same cats? Are you like getting for hire musicians on the West Coast out here? Like, how are you managing this?
Well, for the last 4 years, I've been doing it that way. I've been hiring musicians, if not maybe 5 years now. I've been doing pickup bands, but it's over the years it's evolved now into a very select group of players who I rotate per region, so they become very familiar with my music. And then honestly, over the last six months or less, I've been doing way more consistent bands, flying my bandmates and touring with the same people out to different places. So it's been becoming more of what I used to do with my old bands, the Hue, Digital Tape Machine, where we were the same people, the same band. I'm going back to that sort of format a little bit more, because I'm finding the players that I have really connected with again and that are dedicated and very passionate and talented who want to do the touring thing, and are, working really hard. So
Yeah.
I'm going back more towards the same people. For instance, I'm touring the last few weeks with the guys on the album, the Guitar Head album. Ray from Tab, Adrian Tramontano on drums, Chris DeAngelis on bass. Um, so it's been really great. We've also had Bobby Martin from the Zappa band with us doing sax
I
and keys
saw
and
that. That's
vocals, and
awesome.
Eric Lawrence also recorded horns on the whole record. Got to shout him out. He'll be out with us eventually. He's busy with Little Feat and other projects. So yeah, it's a great band, and it's been really fun to be able to get some of those guys out for these shows that are on the record and be more consistent with the lineups. To reach those more really the improvisational level of things is where I'm coming back to again with the same musicians. As you become closer friends and communicate more and do the thing like that, it gets better. So I have my list kind of players and friends that I really like to stick with now, and um, although I'm of course open, like just like I am to gear, I'm open to working with new people and collaborating constantly. And you never know. Like I'm at that point right now. So yeah.
Was that ever like when you were having to work with different people all the time, was that ever like a source of stress to you of having to like chart things and do all that? Or did you feel like you were very comfortable because you knew the cats you were hiring were going to show up and do their homework or
Yeah, well, I come very prepared for them. I give them charts, a folder with audio, live show recordings, videos, everything to learn, do their homework, which I expect always. But I hired over like I think maybe 150 musicians in like 2022 or something like that, 2023, and it was really fun. And I still love playing with everybody. I do, and I'm so thankful for all those musicians who learned my music and were passionate about it and still are and supportive and just talented people. But now I'm focusing in a little bit more. It
Mhm.
was a little challenging at times. I will say that,
Yeah.
but other times it was really rewarding because there's just so much magic happening with that formula. Again, improvising. You it's like the band is completely improvised to an extent. And then we have these song forms to work with. So it's cool for the audience, I think, too, when they realize it. And they always are like, it sounds like you guys have been playing for years. So
Yeah.
it's that sort of thing. Like we do it, and then I'm kind of a hyper intense critical person on stage. I'm really listening a lot. I want things to go well, and you can tell when I know it's going well and we're having a good ride, and when it's not going well.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't always have perfect nights, but um, I try to just now just I don't have to worry because I'm rolling with the same guys, flying people around. Doing it at a little bit higher level than we've done it the last few years. So I'm excited. I think things are moving up and forward, and you know, we're just getting more people to come to the shows and get the record, and the numbers are just creeping up there. So we're just having fun, and I'm enjoying the ride and appreciative of all the good things happening right now. And just I'm always striving for creating more things for people to hear and more shows. But like I'm really appreciative and take a step back and see all the things happening too now at this point in my life. So
Yeah. That's great, man.
yeah.
When you recorded that record, how much of the musicians, tracking was done remotely? Because were you in a room with Russ when you were cutting basics, or like how did that work?
It was myself, Adrian, and Chris cutting basics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. So we were in there, and Adrian and Chris were in the room, and I was in the control room with Paul Nelson, who's the producer of the record, um, who worked with and played with Johnny Winter and won a few Grammys together. And we just kind of, I came in with some pre-production tracks that I had done, but a lot of the kind of the magic happened right there in the studio with Adrian and Chris, having played so many years together in Kung Fu and bands like that, and The Breakfast also. Um, that they knocked these tunes out really quick. Like we did maybe 2 takes per song, 2 or 3 max, and they knocked out like 9 tunes in one full day.
Dang, dude.
We were on the road playing shows, and then
Mhm.
the studio in Cape Cod, in Yarmouth, that we recorded at, was open on the Sunday after we played right in the area there. So we recorded on Sunday these these rhythm tracks, and had them. Then I came back and did the guitars and the vocals. Ray did his keys from his studio at home and got his sound just exactly how he likes it. And and then Eric flew in the horns too. And I was touring the whole time. Like with this, that's why it kind of sometimes has to be that way. My other records, when I did Truth and Sound with Russ, Ray, and Tony from Tab, that was all together.
Yeah.
So that was all in the same room, same time. But this one, we had to knock it out kind of this way, and it turned out really cool too.
Yeah, man.
You never know. And then we got stuff in the pipeline right now. There's a lot more music almost getting ready for people to hear too beyond this. So a lot of good stuff in the works happening.
Yeah. You're always working, man. You're always doing like one step ahead of yourself, right?
Keeps me going, I like waking up every day and having some musical activity to do that's really fun, and ideally a show or a recording session or both, and I'm just, it's my fuel. It's my fuel for sure.
Man. And is it at all hard for you if you get on the bandstand sometimes, depending on what gig you're on? Is it like, okay, I have to tell myself I'm not on a shred gig, I'm on my gig, or I'm not on this gig, I'm on this gig,
Well,
because you've got so much going on all the time.
sometimes, that's in a way like I have to shift gears just a little bit, but really I'm just playing my way over all of it anyway.
This is true.
It's like me on guitar, no matter what, but it's those bands and that music. That's kind of what I want people to at least to hear in a way. But it's me with this music, so I don't really get too worked up about it. I enjoy the challenge and the variety, and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's always Marcus Rezak, but doing Shred is Dead or doing Gumbo or doing the Zappa project or appearing with another band or what have you, different times. So, but yeah, the original stuff is my focus. I'm very focused on people hearing my original creations and weaving them in more to the Shred is Dead shows sometimes, or weaving in more Shred is Dead into the Marcus Rezak shows sometimes. So you might start seeing more of a convergence of it all sooner than later. So
that's cool, man. I mean, it's good to keep people on their toes too out in the audience. Like, that's fun. Let me ask you, because we're running out of time. So
sure.
how did your relationship, is this a Chicago connection, your relationship with Chris and Joel from Humphreys? Like, how did you get to know those cats?
I got to tell you, especially because today is the day, I met them through a great drummer, the original drummer of Humphreys McGee, Mike Mira. Today is the day. I think he passed away way back.
Like 10 years ago, right?
10 years ago, yeah. I became friends with Mike before I even knew any of the Humphreys McGee. I didn't even know who the band was. My band was on a bill with his band after Humphreys called the John Wassam Band. And we met at a place called the Heartland Cafe in Chicago, 2005 maybe. As soon as my band finished and their band finished, they were like, "We want you to join our band. Come play with us. I used to be in Humphreys McGee." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And so we started playing and jamming and recording. And we had a recording session, and Joel Cummins shows up, 2005. And we recorded a song together that may actually still be on the internet. We're somewhere out there right now. But it was great, and we connected. And then Mike, basically we started playing shows together in bands and hanging out, going to some Humphreys New Year's together, and just, being good friends. And he was just a really supportive guy, really encouraging about my playing. I was pretty young. I was like 21, 22. And he had already, been in big rock bands and stuff. And so, it was kind of through him that I met Humphreys. And I had my band going called The Hue, which is a Chicago-based instrumental 4-piece, 2-guitar progressive rock band.
Heck yeah.
And we didn't give a fuck. We didn't need no vocals at the time. But no, we did a lot of Humphreys after shows and, started just becoming fans and just aspiring musicians to do what they're doing.
Mhm.
So it all started to overlap, and then Digital Tape Machine started, and I was asked to be in the band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I love, like, when, musicians in a common city have a common connection and somehow end up some way, shape, or form creating art out of that relationship, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, there's not enough, like, it was different, I feel like, at that point, in music history and time, like, where people were more collaborative almost, like, when bands are younger, in particular, there's a lot more collaboration,
Mm.
um, but there also feels like there could be a competitiveness that doesn't allow that art to be made too, or, two bands or members from bands could get together and make something cool.
Mm.
But when it happens and it does thrive and it, makes some memories, I think that's pretty rad. So that's a cool
Yeah,
story.
yeah, it was. I have some amazing memories of Digital Tape Machine for sure, and the Hue too. But with DTM, we started doing some really interesting big festivals, and started to make some waves there with that group. It was getting to be pretty big in the EDM world, I think, and it was still a 7-piece live band, but we did with tracks, and it was cool to do that. And I feel more inclined these days to even tap back into some of that as well,
Mhm.
with my music, future songs coming up and stuff like that. More EDM fusion into my guitar playing stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, and people still are knocking our door down for Digital Tape Machine. Joel and Chris, people ask them all the time, and so yay, I'm game for it. It was a
Yeah,
fun band, good music.
that's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Did you so for working with, like, all these different people, I mean, is there anyone that you haven't worked with yet that you would love to get on a record or that you would love to go on tour with? Like, do you have not?
Sure, there's tons. Well, let's see. I'm always looking to collaborate with other guitar players who I think are great, other songwriters, you know. Um, I guess someone that I would really like to work with soon would be, well, we did I didn't open for them, but we want to do some opening and hopefully get him on a track. I'd really like to do some stuff with John Popper.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, you played with Blues Traveler, I remember that.
Yeah, he's incredible,
Yeah.
musician and a cool guy. And yeah, I sat in with them a few months ago in the Rialto Theater in Elgin, Illinois, and just it was great. Chan, their guitar player, Chan Kinchla is a great guy and good friend of mine too. And he's actually going to be sitting in with my band at the Troubadour in LA, February 15th coming up. But
Nice.
Popper is just his phrasing and his style is so unique and so cool that I really would like to work with him. Um, and guitar players like I really respect and admire Steve Kimmock. I think he's always been an incredible musician, and unique guitarist. And it just the list goes on, and I'm just open. I'm just down to make music with people who are doing also cool things, unique music creations.
Mhm.
So
Well, it seems like you're kind of mostly at home, like, wherever. Because when I saw clips of you playing in St. Thomas with that DJ and
I
what you that was pretty cool.
LBGOB.
Yeah, that was really neat. Because it's like there's probably a faction of people that are in the jam scene that maybe aren't so open to, like, EDM vibes and, like, dance music and whatnot. I think it's more, acceptable these days, but can you imagine in the late 90s, like, people weren't as open-hearted or open-minded to some of that stuff, but to see how, putting you in that position, how that can kind of lasso in, people from, like, our world into their world, into the EDM world, and how those things can fit, you know? 'Cause
Yeah,
it was tight. It was fun to watch those clips, man.
thanks. I had a blast. I love her music. She's a badass artist, and I feel really at home improvising with electronic artists. I really do. LP is just great because she's also a musician. She plays piano and really understands. both sides of of musicality as well as genres, and that's an important thing. I think that EDM music fans, there is a common ground between jam band fans and EDM fans. Peace, love, unity, respect. And I think jam band fans can get behind that. But musically, it's great. Music is wonderful, and if it's moving and fun and inspiring, and it's good. It falls into the good category. There's two: good, not good.
Right.
So, I think that the fans can get along really well and should. And musically speaking, I love a lot of that sort of consistency that there is in house music, so that you can layer and create some sort of through composed sort of piece to the already there tracks that are produced.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I love it. I really love being in the Virgin Islands. It's one of my favorite places to perform at the Fred in St. Croix. It's one of my favorite spots. A great spot. Also Lubongo and St. John. Those are my two home away from homes when I'm there. And everyone that puts on those events are really incredible, and they're starting to do more events there too, which I'll be a part of, and really looking forward to it. I'll probably be back there in March, which we'll be announcing something soon. But yeah, huge love, shout out down to my Caribbean friends.
Nice, man. Well, pull up the LP so you can show people the front cover of the record so people know where to.
Would love to. Yes, this is the cover of Guitar Head right here.
Now, did your sister do that?
She did not do this, but she helped with a lot of the merch and stuff like that. But this was designed by David Holt in Denver, Colorado.
Very cool, man.
And he did a really great job.
Yeah. That's very cool. Where'd you get those pressed?
This was pressed in Prague, actually.
Oh, okay.
We did it at what are they called again? It was through the record label that helped do it. They're called Pirate Press.
Okay.
Pirate Press, yeah.
Nice.
They were the ones who did it. Deco Records is the label that we're working with, who's also partners with ADA and Warner Brothers. So they're doing all the distro and stuff like that, and helping with some things. And yeah, this record just came out really great with everyone involved. I gotta say, you know, um,
Sounds good, man. It really sonically too. I mean, obviously the music's great. You sound great. You sing, wonderfully, but like it sonically, it sounds awesome too. Like it's just very warm but you can hear everything in the mix. Like
okay.
it's hard sometimes when you listen to some music that's like almost like overproduced, especially with a large band.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So it fits nicely. Everything has its sonic place,
Thank you for hearing that. I do need to shout out Joe Henninga in Grand Rapids, Michigan, who mixed the record. He did a really good job, and he is actually the one who mixes all of my records so far. So Joe Henninga in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Philip Shaw-Bova mastered the record up in Canada. So yeah, a lot of great people involved in making this.
Takes a village, man.
It does,
every time.
It takes a lot of steps. The recording part's almost the easy part.
Yeah.
It's
true. No, it's totally true, man. Yeah, I mean, like getting it out the door and like everything is like there's so many steps. Like there's so many little minutia things that have to be talked about. It's like building a house. What kind of hardware do you want in your cabinets? You know what I mean?
And I don't want to leave everything up to other people, so I have to, because I got to be involved. I got to make sure, I like the way things are going, but I have a great team for sure. Everyone that's doing the booking and managing and PR and, just everyone involved in my team is great. And we're moving ahead, we're excited for this year. Good shows, festivals coming up. And there is like a lot more music already kind of on its way to be coming out in the near future. So
That's awesome, Mark.
yeah, good stuff. Good stuff happening. And also, I don't know if you want to see this, but I do have my new acoustic
Oh
here.
yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah. So
Oh
they
yeah,
were just at NAMM too, I think, right? Because I
yeah,
thought I
Circle
saw a
Strings.
clip. Yeah.
Yep, they did great at NAM this year. They brought the Languedocs, which they're now licensed makers of the G4s, and these acoustics. Just I just got this the other last week um, after a long time of doing things with circle strings, and it's one of the best sounding acoustics I've ever played.
The Canon too, man.
You hear it, you hear it.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, shout out to Adam Buckwald and Ben and Bucky's and the whole Circle String crew for making this one for me. Circle Strings Dreadnought, German spruce, 100-year-old top,
Dang.
and the Koa. I got the
Oh
Koa.
yeah, buddy.
Koa
Oh, look at that.
sides. Highly figured. Sorry about the glare.
That's okay. Man, that is gorgeous, man.
It's really something.
Oh god, I sounded like the biggest stoner when I said that. Man, that is gorgeous, man.
Man, deserves a
You got
man.
two mans in a sentence. You know what's up.
Yeah, it deserves it. You're right. I said the same thing.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful though, Marcus. So is that an ebony fretboard or is it what is that?
yeah. This is ebony fretboard, and bridge, and it's got the Schaller tuners.
Yeah, those look nice. And like there's enough space there too. It's like that old school like Martin headstock kind of vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's so bright and clear and yet not brittle whatsoever. It still has a low end. It's got all the frequencies that are kind of what I'm looking for. And the neck shape it's like a soft V, I think. I posted something recently with all the specs on my page, but
Yeah. Speaking of which, let me show those really quick and then we're gonna do the lightning round get down. But make sure you guys go by Marcus's website and there's merch there, right? I went there today. You can purchase stuff through there.
oh yeah,
Tour dates, all the goodness is there. Great bio. Your bio, that page looks so great too. That's really nice, cohesive bio. And like having those quotes and everything from bandmates and people you've worked with is really helpful.
thank you.
So
Yeah,
check that out. Here's the Instagram. Thank you, BV, for moderating and doing all this stuff. We got we got old school Facebook styley, if you still use that.
yeah. For all you
YouTube.
old folks out there, we use Facebook.
But
I
yeah.
have
So,
TikTok too. Don't forget. So we got something for everybody here.
yeah. Nice, dude. All right, Marcus, you want to do this lightning round get down with me?
Lightning round, get down. Hit me.
So what we're doing is I'm going to ask you 10 questions. I'm going to have a click track on about 112 cruising altitude for some suspense for y'all. But 10 questions, kind of rapid fire, not so much. If you want to explain your answer, feel free. I love hearing explanations. If not, you can cruise right through them. All right. The first one is always the same. Lennon or McCartney?
Lennon.
Strat or Telly?
Strat.
Day or night gigs?
Night gigs.
Spicy food. Spice is nice or no thank you, plain Jane?
Spice it up. I like the spice.
All right. Okay, which one of these tycoon superheroes would you rather live in their world or be that person? Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark?
Bruce Wayne. Batman.
The Office or Parks and Rec?
The Office.
Bagels or donuts?
Bagels all day. Give me that Loxton bagel, baby.
Reverb or delay? If you had to choose one,
I'm
Have
gonna
them.
need my full 10 seconds on that question. I'm gonna go with reverb.
Okay. This might be hard, but you have to choose between one of these. You can only listen to one of these bands the rest of your life: The Dead or Fish.
Fish.
All right, and here's the last one, Marcus. Sometimes this is the hardest, sometimes it is the easiest. If you could take one record, it does not have to be your favorite record of all time, but if you could take one record and erase it from your memory, just so you can go back and experience it for the first time again, what album would that be?
Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced?
Okay, tell me why.
Because it is the quintessential groundbreaking guitar record that I heard when I was young, and that made me want to play records over and over again and listen to guitar riffs and learn Purple Haze and everything.
Okay, that
Yeah,
works for me, man. Yeah, we didn't even talk about Jimmy.
I know.
You know what, man? You got to check out. So Pete Flynn was on my show too. I don't know, not super duper long ago, but like maybe in the fall.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I didn't know this, but he's like a Jimi Hendrix historian. Did you know
No
that?
way.
Yeah,
No.
dude. That cat is like a musicologist for Hendrix.
Wow.
He knows so much. If you ever get into a conversation with him, you should ask him, because he is like, I feel like I need to have him on again to just do a whole Hendrix episode, because
Yeah.
it was like a Meet Pete Flynn episode like this, where I wanted to hear about his life and everything. And then we started talking about Hendrix, and he started just
Oh yeah.
spouting all this stuff where I was like, what?
Yeah. I was hanging out with him at his place like before this tour, and he swapped the pickups, and he's a wealth of information. He's just he knows
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. Hendrix.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, he's great.
Yeah, you gotta talk to him. Anything else to promote, Marcus, before we head out?
Yeah, sure. Well, of course, the big Troubadour show is coming up February 15th in LA. A lot of great people on that bill from bands all the way from Frank Zappa to Blues Traveler to Pink Floyd to Twiddle to Holly Band. Everything under the sun's happening at that show with my originals debuting. And then also before that, the week before, I'll be back on the East Coast for all the East Coast people, playing in New Hampshire, Plymouth, New Hampshire, I believe, and then in Portland, Maine, at Oxbow Brewing Company,
Nice.
and also at Plymouth, New Hampshire. Everything's on my website. But yeah, I'm just really stoked to let people see the new music and hear the new music, follow all the things, come to the shows, tell your friends, let's do this, let's go.
Yeah,
I'm out
man.
here, and yeah, I mean that's the main stuff. Contact me through my socials. If you have questions or anybody wants to ask me anything further, or my YouTube page too. So yeah.
Cool. You guys support this guy. He's got a great band. He's a great musician, great voice too,
Thank you.
So make sure you check his album out. The last record, Guitar Head, sounds killer. Lots of great songs, lots of great jams, amazing musicianship on that record. Check that out. Also too, are you coming through Mid-Atlantic region? Like, I live in Baltimore. Are you coming through here at all, or around here? DC, Baltimore, Philly?
Yeah. We were just in Philly recently, this past weekend. But we have some stuff more on the East Coast in that area in like a few months. Yeah,
Okay.
we're on the East Coast a lot though. I play in Vermont all the time, and we just did this whole month on the East Coast. So
Okay.
if we're not in that region yet, we will be soon.
Cool. I'll keep my eyes peeled. Well, Marcus, dude, thank you so much for doing this. It was so, such a nice conversation. Pleasure to talk to you, man. Like, I wish you nothing but success and the best in 2024. Everybody else, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Peace, everybody.